Hi, everyone. I'm back today with my 2025 planner lineup as promised. I'm going to be sharing with you all the planners that I'm going to be using this year to help support both my personal life and my writing career. So let's go ahead and dig into this stack and see what I'll be using this year. So to start off, I'm just going to go ahead and start with what I had on the bottom, and we'll work our way up. This is not exactly a planner, but it has been pretty important to me over the last 6 months when I started using this. Now this is a Notique cover that I have. I believe this was Dusty Rose. I bought it quite a while ago, and so I'm not sure exactly what it was called. Now I am using this for this. I sort of recreated, this was an old Happy Planner cover that I had, and these 2-inch rings, they're metal rings I got off of Etsy. And what I did with this, I won't share the beginning pages. There's a lot of personal journaling in here. But what I use this for is basically scripting. And so this is not, I don't use this as like an accurate journal of what my day was like or what's happening in my life, that kind of thing. This is just basically like a manifestation scripting journal. And so what I do is I write out, almost like I write in my book, like writing a scene. And I'm writing what my life looks like having achieved something that I'm working towards, or something along those lines. And so this is my scripting journal. All these pages are from previous Erin Condren, either 8x11 planners or notebooks that I had that I hadn't used. And so, the planners always come with extra pages. And so I tore all of those out. I resized them, recut them so that they would fit this size, a Happy Planner size notebook. And then I have a Happy Planner punch. And so I use that to punch all these pages. And that's what I use this for. Now, I don't use this every day. Probably about once or twice a week, I'll go in and I'm scripting out of a scene of basically, it's what your life will look like once you've accomplished the things that you've sort of set out for yourself. So this is my scripting journal, and I will be continuing to use this in 2025. Okay, next up, I have, this is an Archer and Olive notebook. And how I'm going to be using this, you might have seen this before in one of my previous planner flip throughs, but this is the notebook that I'm using for my next book, which I have started working on, by the way. And speaking of books, if you've been waiting for the paperback version of my latest, The Last Nanny, those are out and available. I finished the cover design on that, and I was able to get that all uploaded to the distributor who handles the printing and selling those books, through the different retail channels like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Pal Books, anywhere you can buy books. So if you were waiting to get a copy of my latest book, The Last Nanny, you can now get that wherever books are sold in paperback version. The ebook is still only available on Amazon due to the fact that I have it currently enrolled in Kindle Unlimited. Whether or not I'll continue to do that after that subscription period is finished, we'll have to see. But as of right now, the ebook's only available at Kindle Unlimited, but you can get the paperback. But this is the notebook I'm using for my book 11. This is the 11th book I've written. I haven't revealed the title yet, and so I have to be kind of careful because this first page has it on there. But this is, of course, one of the beautiful Archer and Olive notebooks. And you can see down the side, I've kind of sectioned off the different areas that I need for it, which are characters, setting, time frame, scenes, beats, meaning like Save the Cat beats, and story notes. So I'm not going to be sharing any of those things. I have started working on this new book, and I'll show you the planner that I'm using in conjunction with that. But this is basically just like my story journal. And so anytime I need to make notes about any of those domains of the book, or if I just feel like doing a little bit of like handwriting, free writing, handwriting for the book, it will go into this notebook. And then once I'm done with the book, this will go on the shelf with the other notebooks that I've used for various other books that I've written over the last 20 years. But that's what this is being used for. All right. So if you watched my last planning video, it was the reset of my 2025 planner. So, I think we went through this pretty in depth, but I just thought I'd kind of share it again in case you missed that video. I'm not going to do a whole flip through of this because, it's a system that I've built, and these can end up being kind of long-winded flips, and that's not what this video is about. But this is basically what I have created in order to support the plans I've made for. I use the 12-week year as my planning theory, how I'm kind of structuring my work and my time and things like that. And I started doing this, I believe it was in the summer of 24, and I thought I said this in the original video that I posted, maybe not, but it's sort of an ever evolving process for me. And I feel like every time I go through a 12-week like session, I get better and better at following sort of how it should look. I, figure out what works for me, what maybe I could tweak and do better. And I feel like this is my strongest sort of initial plan yet for kind of achieving what it is I've set out. I'm going to be setting out for myself for the 12 weeks. So now this week right now, today's Friday, this week is officially the first week of my 2025 12-week session. And so I'm really excited. I actually have already been getting up in the mornings, and I've been getting some writing done. And so far I'm pretty much on track to at least meet my writing goals for this first week of the 12-week year. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've had several people message me. They've watched my initial 12-week year video, and they've messaged and said that they would really enjoy like a series on kind of my progression through and using the 12-week system. And so I'm thinking, so I'm filming this on Friday, and this counts as, my video that I'm doing for this week. But I really kind of like that idea of maybe because, in the 12-week year, it calls for these accountability, the WHAM sessions. And, of course, I shared in that previous video how I developed these pages to kind of help me like be able to score myself, for those weekly accountability sessions. And so it might be kind of fun. I'd have to kind of wrap my head around how it would work, but just to kind of sit down, and anybody who's maybe interested in, watching me like tally up, like, okay, how much did I get done in each of my goal domains? And so basically sharing those accountability meetings with everybody every week might be fun. I don't know if it would be like a full length video like this, or if it would be something that would work better as a short. Of course, those could only be 3 minutes. So, but I'm gonna kind of play around with the idea. I should technically be performing my first accountability tomorrow, and looking back over this week and seeing what I've gotten accomplished so far and scoring it. And of course, if you've read the 12-week year, you're hoping to get that 85% of your tasks that you've laid out for yourself executed that week. And so it would be kind of fun to kind of, just be open and honest with everybody and say, hey, look, this is what I did get done. This is what I didn't get done. Here's how I need to improve next week, or, whatever. So I'm gonna consider that, and then maybe just make it a series here on YouTube, at least for, maybe this first 12-week session of the year, and you can kind of follow along and see how that's going. So more about that coming up. Now we're getting to one of my first new purchases for 2025. I tried using the Common Planner as like a regular planner for me. I believe it was last year. I bought the full year planner, and I started off using it at the beginning of the year. And I have nothing bad to say about this planner. If you like this type of planning, the Hobonichi style planning, this is beautiful, gorgeous planner. The quality is excellent. I do love how they're laid out. I just didn't using this as like a complete planner wasn't right for me. And so I wasn't actually going to buy one this year because I was like, I didn't feel I had a use for it, given that I was going back to my A5, and I really liked how I could build my A5 out to be exactly what I need, and that I can continue to improve upon all that, the components that I had in that A5 planner, so that it was really just better aligned with, my writing career and my personal life, and sort of, meeting everything meeting everything that I wanted to do with that. However, I was having serious FOMO about not getting one of the common planners this year. They are just lovely, and especially when she had this mulberry cover, which I just adore with the gold edges. I thought it was so pretty. But the other thing I realized, if you remember from previous videos, I have the writing section in my A5 planner, and it's never really been able to be or do what I wanted to do because kind of planning for my writing life, beyond just kind of setting the goals and the tactics, laying the tactics out for what I need to accomplish that week. There's a lot more I need. Just a lot more I need to kind of track and keep sort of together, planning and things like that I want to do when it comes to my writing career. And so it's almost like it is a whole planner in and of itself, and of course my A5 encompasses many areas of my life. And so I was like, aha, that would be a lovely thing to use the common planner for if I just made it exclusively for my writing career. And so how I envision this is, I guess this would be a good time to sort of say, I'm trying something radically different for me this year when it comes to my writing. I've only ever written one book in any sort of 12-month span. And in a year, I've only been able to sort of write one book. And it's often taken me, maybe 18 months or something along those lines. Now, I have often felt that I can write faster if I just can keep up with like being consistent about getting the writing done. And all of that comes down to getting back to having a more regular routine when it comes to my writing. What always worked for me in the past when my kids were young and I was still working a full-time job as a school psychologist, what always worked for me was getting up early, like at 4:00 before my kids woke up and I had to get ready for work and get them ready for school and, start the day. That's when I got my writing done. And honestly, even though I had so much less time, I feel like I got a lot more writing done. Isn't that kind of always the case? Like the more time we have, the more time we waste, And so I was thinking about that, kind of in conjunction with this idea of like, the eat the frog kind of thing, like do your sort of hardest thing in the morning, but also it's the most important priority that I have right now when it comes to career anyway, is getting the words done, getting them written. And so this planner is going to be all about the books I'm writing in 2025. Now, it's not the story notes necessarily, because of course that's what I'm using that Archer and Olive notebook for, at least for book 11 that I'm working on right now. This is more like, how is the writing going, tracking it. You can see here for January, I've marked off the weeks that I'm in. So I started my first 12-week session of 2025 on the 6th. Today it is the 10th. And I haven't marked anything on those pages yet, but what I'm using this perpetual calendar for, and in the front here, now this has every month and every day of the year in it. I'm using this as my word tracker. And so you can see on the 6th, if you can see that, I was able to write 1,582 words. The next day was 1,546 words, 1,516 words. Yesterday, I didn't get any writing done. That was a flying day. So, and that's kind of what I want to use this for, because I was kind of curious, like, okay, well, when I am working, when I'm flying, I think a lot of it just depends on the type of trip. That was just a one-day trip. It was a LA trip, a turn there and back. And so there's not really an opportunity. There's no airport sit or anything like that to get any writing done. Today is the 10th, and I did get some writing done this morning, but I haven't yet gotten to my 1,500 daily word count goal. And so after I film this video, I plan on, writing some more, and I'll see, how far along did I get. Now, I think I talked about this in my last planner. My goal is to complete the first draft of book 11 during this first 12-week planning session. So basically that in 12 weeks, after 12 weeks, I will have a completed first draft of this book. Now, this is very ambitious for me, and I will be honest with you, it terrifies me a little bit, even just kind of saying that out loud. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. I do believe I can do it. I just really, I wanted to put it out there, commit to it, and then start working towards making that a reality. And so this is my first week. I'm not where I need to be, but I am actually very, very happy with this progress. And so we'll see. I'm going to really keep trying to get to that 1,500 words today. Now, the nice thing is, if I write 1,500 words every day during the work week, meaning Monday through Friday, then I kind of had marked, I did mark Saturday and Sunday off as non-writing days. So like if I have one of these days like yesterday when I didn't get any words done and I was flying, and then when I got home, I was exhausted. And so I just really wasn't I didn't have any energy to kind of continue to sort of, right after that. Then I still have Saturday and Sunday if I want to use one of those days as kind of a catch-up day to help keep me on track. And so this is my plan. This is what I'm thinking. I'm curious and I'm interested to see how it goes, but I'm excited with how it's working out so far. Now, this next section here, this is where you get into sort of the quarterly aspect of the Common Planner. And I was kind of wondering how I was going to use this for, but then I was like, oh, this is how I'm going to track total words. So this is my daily word count, and then this is my total words written. Now, this first day is kind of high, and that's why when I first was conceptualizing book 11, I kind of had hammered out a couple sample chapters just to kind of get a sense of, okay, like, the character's voice, it's being told from 2 points of view. And I had written one chapter in one character's point of view, and then another chapter in another character's point of view. And so I was starting off with a few thousand words before I even started on the 6 here. And so my total for after that first writing session was about 3,200. After the second session, it was 4,800. After the third writing session, I got up to 6,300 words, and I have written a little bit today, but I'm not going to fill this in yet until I have my total words for the day. So I kind of like looking at this, and I imagine this all filled out. And this, if I can stay on track, this will sort of encapsulate the ideas. I'll be up to 90,000 words by the end of March, by March 31st, and so that's the plan. I'm going to stick to it. I'll say it now. That's what that's going to look like. Now, I would like to, I'm not sure how I'll end up using these monthly pages other than, it's a really quick glance at, what week I'm on. And then I would like to use, you can sort of see here the weekly spreads with just maybe a little bit of dialogue with regards to how the writing went that day. And so I would like to write here, that I flew yesterday and I didn't get any writing done, because I think that will be really helpful to me with regards to being able to see what activities, what things am I doing, what behaviors am I, engaging in that are maybe preventing me from getting the writing done on certain days. And I think it can only help with planning appropriately for my next 12-week session, of course, which will happen in April. And so there's that. And, and there's a lot of these blank pages at the back here. And I thought this would be a nice place to actually use as journaling, to journal about my writing life and the writing process in general, like any hiccups or challenges that I'm having if I'm getting stuck with a particular element, in the book. And so this isn't going to be like the story notes. I'll be using that Archer and Olive notebook for story notes, but I do think it could be helpful and kind of fun to look back at, because every book has challenges and days that went well and days that felt kind of terrible, quite frankly. And so I think I'd like to have like a record of that and a journal of just kind of the experience of creating the book. So that's what this will be used for. I also purchased, now this isn't a planner, but this is one of the Common Planner notebooks. Now I've never purchased any of the Sterling ink. I guess it's not a Common Planner notebook. It's the Sterling ink notebook. And this is the forest green with the gold edge. And I have never purchased one of their notebooks before, so I was curious to sort of see what it was like, if I would like the quality. Of course, it's the same as the planner. It's the Tomo River paper. And the reason why I had purchased this is because originally I was going to use this as the story notebook to go in conjunction with the writing planner. And so book 11 would have been contained in this, not realizing that I had already, invested. I'd already spent quite a bit of time and had a lot of words written already in this, using this as a story notebook. So I kind of debated whether or not I would, transfer that information. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick with this for book 11. And then I will save this notebook for book 12 that hopefully I will also be drafting this year. So that's kind of the plan. So I'm just going to be saving this notebook for later in the year because, of course, this planner I will still be using for my 2025 writing career. However, I would like to also share, I have a couple of these different Moterm covers. And so that is what I'll be using as the cover for these. They have these nice little divider pages because, of course, I travel a lot, at least every week. And, I throw a lot of my notebooks and things like that in my tote that I carry with me everywhere. And so this is with both of those in there, so you can see they fit. I worried if I had gotten the larger notebook that it wouldn't fit. And I'm quite frankly, for just a single title, a single book, I don't need anything bigger than that. So that's quite a few pages on that. So this is going to be my writing planner, and eventually for book 12, my notebook. Right, we're getting towards the end. Now isn't this beautiful? I saw this. So I was in Barnes & Noble when they first, Barnes & Noble comes out with their planner selection that they have every year. And I was in there shopping for a book. And of course, I'll always stop by the planner section. And I just saw this. It called to me. It was so beautiful. It feels so nice. I absolutely loved these printed edges. I just thought it was so beautiful. But it was one of those things that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful and I want it, but I just do not have a use for it. And so I put it down back on the table and I was like, no, you already have your kind of planners all set out. You don't need another one. We're not getting this. However, I ended up, I don't know, I went back over the table. I just couldn't leave it there. I picked it up. I purchased it. It wasn't that expensive, but it really was very, very pretty. But then it kind of sat in my office until the start of 25. And I wasn't really sure, what I would be using it for. But then I landed on, I've had that 5-year planner for quite a long time. And it's sort of sporadically filled out, the Hobonichi 5-year. It's not a planner. It's a journal where you can kind of every day journal a little bit about how your day went. But I was thinking I would like to actually switch to just doing that a single year at a time. And so what I have been doing is just on each date, I just fill out what I did that day. Or, if there was something kind of going on with the kids, my kids are adults, but, they're around a lot or whatever. And so if they have something significant happening in their life, or if Rod and I did something, or we went out for dinner, or we went to a party or something like that. And so that's what this is going to be. It's just kind of like a little mini diary, I suppose, but it's not anything I'm going to get in the weeds on with regards to feelings or, that's kind of a separate type of journaling in my mind. This is more just almost like a log, like what did you do that day? Any kind of significant events, somebody's birthday that happened, and what did you do? Did you go see a movie? That sort of thing. And so just kind of like a record, a life record, I suppose. And so that's what I will be using. I knew I would find a purpose for it. And so I did. But I did, to be honest, I bought it just because it was so beautiful. And I was really hoping I would find a good use for it. So there's that. And lastly, we come to this little guy. I find these so adorable. These are the little passport size planners from Common Planner, the Common Planner from Sterling Ink. They are so tiny and they are super cute. And again, I bought another one of these this year without being super clear on what I wanted to use it for. But it turns out that actually it has been very helpful. I started using it in December because, of course, they have the December month in here, and then you get into the January. And I am using this completely and only to sort of track physical health. So I'm tracking my daily weight in here, and then I'm also tracking any activity. So today I took a 2-mile walk, and I didn't weigh myself this morning. I forgot to do that. But so that's what this is being used for. If I'm walking, if I'm using the Peloton, I'm weighing myself every morning. And this is just basically like a physical activity, tracker, just to make sure that I'm still moving. I'm like at least aware of what my weight is. And, so that way, if I'm deciding I want to seriously work towards changing anything, I have this, very accurate record of what that looked like. And so that's what this little guy is going to be used for. And he will be in this little passport-sized Moterm cover. So that just kind of goes in there like that. Now there's this little notebook in here as well. And I thought that would be great. They have the additional pages back here in the back, but then also this, if I wanted to sort of journal or, just any sort of thoughts on my personal health, how I was feeling, things that I might like to change. Recently I started seeing a chiropractor, and then also, recently went to the doctor. I was having some issues with one of my feet, and, so just kind of anything in there that I wanted to, just maybe journal about or remind myself about, or if a doctor, kind of shared something with me, it's going to have its own little place for that. So I think, the thought is that, I have this system that is, sort of my life is in here, but I wanted these places where I could get a little more personal. And so there's kind of this combination of like planners, but they're also journals for me for these different areas of my life. And so I think that I'm curious to see how that's going to work for me this year, just to kind of round out this. This is a very functional system where all these are maybe going to just give me a little bit more of that personal information about what's happening for me with those. So that is basically, those are my 2025 planners and notebooks that I will be using on a regular basis. I hope that you enjoyed this. Once again, just a little plug for my new book, The Last Nanny, is available in Kindle Unlimited. If you're interested in ebooks, you can get that right now. Also, you can now order the trade paperback version is available, and you can get that. You can order it online anywhere that books are sold. I think you can even order it from Target and Walmart. You can get it from Barnes & Noble online. Any of those places should have it. So if you like trade paperbacks, you can get that there. I am going to be also building out the hardback cover of that. I know most people are not interested in spending the extra money for the hardback. I do just have some, family, friends, some, very dedicated readers that like to get my books in hardback. And so that will be coming up. I would like to have that completed by the end of January is sort of the plan on that one. Yes, so those are available and ready if you'd like to check those out. I will put a link in the description for those below. And I'm going to be looking into potentially creating that series, that 12-week year series of videos sharing my weekly accountability. I think would maybe be the best way to kind of handle that at the end of each week. And so you can kind of see like how I'm using the inserts that I created for this guy, and using that to help me make sure that I'm staying on track with those goals that I set out, and then the tactics that I've assigned myself for each week. And then we're going to be looking at, okay, what's my execution score at the end of every week? So I will let you know. And hopefully I'll be getting that filmed tomorrow, because that's when I'll be going through my first weekly accountability meeting here. So I'd love to share that with you. I hope all is going well. If you have any questions for me or videos that you would like to see me tackle, go ahead and put that in the comments. I'd love to hear that. Additionally, if you have a 2025 planner lineup and you'd like to put a link to that in the comments, I'd love to come by and watch it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love watching planner videos. I get so much inspiration from everybody in that community, particularly if you're a writer and a planner, because I think that, those just marry so well because, of course, there's so much planning we have to do for our books, but then also for our writing careers as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, I hope that you will consider it. Please give this video a like. It's always good for that old YouTube algorithm. And I appreciate every single one of you, especially any of you that were able to make it to the end of this probably very lengthy video. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.